Legends of Wrestling, one of the biggest events of the year, 10,000 fans in attendance.
The documentary is called You Cannot Kill David Arquette. Mr. David Arquette, Mr. RJ City, thanks for taking the time to talk about the film today. To me, this film, I really enjoyed the ride because it's just the way it's told, the way the story is crafted, the way it's shot beautifully. If you can tell us a little bit about the process and how long you took to film the documentary.
Yeah, you have to be really careful what you say to RJ when we have these conversations, because now he's got a huge head. He already feels like he wasn't in the film enough.
I'm sorry. The guy with the leopard print vest is telling me I have a huge head. Can we talk for 1 second about how distracting his frame is and how many things are going on there? There's the monkey from, I believe, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which he's also dressed up. And then he's got quite a tremendous button collection.
Yeah. Get out there and vote, everybody. Get out there and vote.
This movie was a real political statement, just so he could show that jacket and that tie.
This whole idea was just to come back to wrestling after 20 years, train properly, prove myself to the fans, and sort of rewrite the ending of the story. So it wasn't just, what happened 20 years ago, just let that live where it is. I wanted to prove myself. And it's sort of a story for everyone. Anyone could kind of get behind the idea of wanting to fulfill a dream, feeling sort of undervalued and wanting to stand up for yourself.
And David, when you decide to refocus your attention to pro wrestling, is there a sense of selfishness that you have to embrace in order to be successful? And that's sort of meaning putting your opinions of your family aside and kind of what people in your inner circle are telling you. Do you have to kind of push that away and be a little selfish in order to make this work?
Yeah, well, one thing happened where Luke Perry and his kid Sophie and Jack Perry came by the house, and we all had this wonderful time together. And I asked him, I was like, is it so exciting when you see Jack wrestle? He said, I'm so scared the whole time. I'm just in complete fear because it's my kid. And then that meant touched me, and I was like, wow. Because I thought about it, obviously, since I have kids and everything, but it was something that I just had to do. And my family couldn't watch me do it. They were really scared of my matches and stuff like that. But I guess I did it anyway. It was just something I really had to do for myself.
It wouldn't have hurt him to listen to a few more people. What baffles me is that there would have been a much easier way to have done all of this, and a much less painful way had he strategized at all. But he's open to a fault, and it's indelibly captured on film.
Do you talk about looking for respect in Hollywood? That's one of the themes that we see early on in the documentary. And, then you try to go and get respect in pro wrestling, which is also a difficult place to do it. Are they equally difficult landscapes to navigate?
They're both very different, but also have similarities. I don't know. They're both difficult to navigate. I mean, it's really great that the film's getting a really great response and everything. But I've had so many years of films that either didn't even come out or, just kind of bombed or didn't get great reviews. So it feels really good to sort of, have a film that people seem to be appreciating and having a good time watching. But yeah, it's difficult. Wrestling's a very complicated world. It's very tight. It's a very insider world.
It's like the mafia, but run by high school kids.
There's one scene that sticks out to me, and it's the scene where you're on a horse with the cape and you're vaping. And it sticks out to me because you say, I'm tired of being the joke. I don't want to be the joke anymore. And that's juxtaposed with this almost comedic looking visual, So I'm wondering, for you, when you look at that, is that like a good representation of kind of this duality that was going on in your life at the time?
Yeah, I knew I was about to go on this journey. They wanted to put me on the horse to take a picture, this majestic look. And I'm the one who had the vape in my pocket. So it was just why don't you smoked that too. And I'm aware that I was out of shape and silly, but I did believe everything I'm doing at every moment. And I don't know. It's very hard for me to watch the film. I don't know how people are going to sort of look at me after this. I kind of don't really care to a certain extent. I mean, I do if it affects my family and stuff, but
the answer was, I mean, he didn't want to be a joke anymore, but I think the biggest punchline is that everything is a joke.
Yes.
In this world. It's lunacy. All of it is lunacy. And I sometimes I don't think he realized, like, this world is just as ridiculous as you think you are. When we wrestled, you know, he wanted to have more of a gimmick, but the feud was basically based on me not liking him as a person, which is obviously a very personal thing. And then, you know, he had to fight very much as himself, which is very scary. You know what I mean? There's this person calling out your personal and professional life, which is real, and now making it part of the story.
So that's interesting, because there is this scene where, you know, you guys are going through your match, you know, and you're talking about it, and then it's kind of cut in with the match actually happening. You know, and that's something that, you know, in the pro wrestling world, or if you're doing documentaries about pro wrestling, a lot of times that's a taboo. You know, you can't show that, and you can't reveal everything. Do you think at this point that taboo can disappear?
Yes, I specifically fought for it, and I was happy to show that process. That match was put together for a reason, with a goal, and I was happy to show the ins and outs of it. And, you know, him learning it and then doing it with 3 fractured ribs is pretty crazy. I think we know by now. You know, sorry, I will say, in 1925, the New York Times wouldn't cover wrestling because they knew it was fake. So why is this a taboo now? I have absolutely no idea.
Because it's not fake, RJ. It's predetermined. It's not fake.
Sure.
Is this fake? Is this fake? Is this
what is he
fake?
doing? You're going to hurt yourself.
You know, the phrases paying your dues and respecting the business, I think, you know, these are phrases that you hear very common in pro wrestling, regardless of what stage you're at, whether you're just starting or you know, you're on the biggest stage. You know, and these are ideas that are very strongly rooted in pro wrestling traditionalists, you know, the purists. Do you think that you can ever appease the purists, or do you just have to let that go sometimes and do what's right for you?
There's a real respect level with wrestling. So, like, even the fact that there's a death match in this, a lot of traditional wrestling fans would be upset about that because it's considered not, you know, it's lower rung than traditional wrestling. So, I don't know. I want people to just enjoy it as a film and like inspirational story rather than dig too much into it. I hope, you know, we don't offend the wrestling community too much. But again, you know, any kind of like, it's kind of funny too that they get all torn up about something that is predetermined or whatever.
In terms of respect and paying your dues, that's also kind of a dynamic that can be used and abused against people when they come in with irreverence, and that keeps old guys on top, and, oh, you're not good enough because you didn't carry my bag, whatever the hell it is. But I think David kept paying his dues beyond what he needed to. And it's hard to capture in the documentary because it's over 2 years and it covers a lot of stuff, but it's really the tip of the iceberg in terms of what he did wrestling-wise, traveling, and not making it easy on himself. He made it far harder on himself than he had to. He did a bunch of stuff that I would have gladly said no to. So in terms of opening himself up and trying to learn from the ground floor, and also learning all the different kinds of wrestling, he didn't differentiate between lucha and death matches and backyard wrestling. He showed the whole culture respect, which, you know, really took him on this journey.
Yes, and we see examples of that throughout the film. I do want to bring up the death match that you had with Nick Gage. Was that the extreme wake-up call that you think you needed at the time?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a wake-up call. My wife, after my death match, was like, I just feel like you want to die, like you want to kill yourself. And I was like, I don't want to die. I don't want to kill myself. But, you know, I'd just been beating myself up for so many years that I had to find a place of, like, being kind to myself, loving myself. I know it sounds kind of corny, but it's true. And, it's kind of like when you read the tweets and all the anger that people say to you, and then you start believing it, it hurts really bad. But if you can retrain your brain to like be kinder to yourself, the tweets, or you don't even end up reading them so much because they'll just kind of get you in a negative space, and you just kind of stay positive. And that's the more you can just stay positive is really what it's all about, because you can just enjoy life more and make less, spend less time on the things that are just a waste and aren't fun at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the film, there's the ketamine scene. In it, we see your wife looking onward, very, very emotional and, very concerned as to what's, playing out in front of her. When you watch that scene back, does it make you emotional at all, seeing your wife in that state?
Yeah, that's a hard scene for me to watch on many levels. But, and it's a dangerous thing too. I have addiction issues and even getting it professionally through a doctor. I had a ketamine treatment after that. That was just a shot. And then I got to sit down with my therapist and go through a therapy session with him like that. And that was a lot more helpful. It's just a dangerous world because, just because when you have a brain like mine, it almost is like trying to attack you all the time. I don't know how to explain it any more than that. So it's really important to figure out ways that you don't do that anymore so that you can kind of enjoy the process and have fun with people. That's why me tag teaming with RJ was always my favorite aspect of wrestling in the ring. He knows how to build a story. He knows how to tell a story. We got a great dynamic together. It just made it so much simpler to actually like follow and understand and know where to be and know what to play. So I would be excited to do something again with RJ. I still owe him. He's been tag teaming with me, so I get him on a proper talk show with a couch and everything. And he's all upset now because there's no talk shows at the moment. With the couch, he wants the couch. He wants the band.
I don't want to zoom in. I have to zoom. It's disrespectful.
At some point, but it's going to be like a year before they're. I don't know when it's going to happen, RJ.
You had 2 years.
I know.
And you had no problem. What were you on? The Today Show today? You had no problem going on that. Entertainment Tonight, Wendy Williams. That seemed to be you just waltz into these things and they go, "Hello, David. Good to see you." And meanwhile, I'm here in this, bunker, I guess. If I may be slightly symbolic, there is definitely a parallel between the ketamine scene and the highs and lows of a wrestling match in being euphoric and also the tremendous pain at the same time. They're eerily similar to me, and I related to the ketamine scene, going, I understand that trajectory.
Yeah, certainly some emotionally charged scenes in the film. But at this point, David, do you feel like you are fulfilled in your search for the respect that you've been looking for?
I do, and a lot of that came with like me sort of working out, understanding a lot of my demons. Working through a lot of my problems with, people closest to me, and just having that confidence in myself. But it's really the connection with the fans that I made on the road, and just getting their respect. I walked into the Nick Gage match and they were just booing me and spitting on me and like hating me. And by the time I walked out, they were cheering, and it was like for it to happen like within a match was a pretty magical moment for me.
Last thing I'll ask you real quick, we do see, Jack Perry obviously is in it, and with his connections to AEW, maybe is that something you'd be interested in making a move there? Or again, we saw BCW in the documentary, maybe a run with Impact Wrestling. Is there anything like that you may want to do?
I always want to do it with RJ if I do anything. RJ's incredible talent that I hope the wrestling world gets to know even more than they already do. He's got tons of fans. He's a Twitter sensation. So hopefully that just grows. And if I'm a manager or his tag team partner, I don't know. I do like that my wrestling exists in this movie now. So I don't know how much more wrestling I have in me, just body wise. I still have like this neck pain.
I'm currently signed to the AWA, so I'll have to talk to Vern, see if he'll sponsor David. But I think it would be so weird for David to do a show without a crowd or a limited crowd. I think that was really the spark of it, and the spark of doing stuff on the indie scene too. It's so immediate and raw, and I think it would be very weird to do, you know, for him to do anything at all, and then for us to do a tag team thing without an audience would just be so weird.
But maybe it'd be more vaudevillian. Maybe it'd be more like, I don't know, we could get our bits in.
Yeah, well, maybe you can make me a puppet, and we can just do it like that, and we can do the whole thing over Zoom.
There you go.
The future of wrestling. Well, there you go, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. RJ, David, thank you. Congratulations
Thank you, George.
on the film and the success. And I hope you really get to take it in and enjoy it, you know, because it's really well deserved.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
Thanks, RJ. Thanks for coming.
No. Thank you. I insist.
No, I have to thank you.
No. Please. I deflected. I shield myself, and I bring it back to you. That's great.
Thank you. That's so kind of you. But
Thank you for thanking me, but ultimately,
Thank you.
my gratefulness is yours. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.